Hello guys, welcome back to a new year of living in sync with our natural rhythm. I hope you have a wonderful year upcoming and that you can really flourish a new seed in this year for yourself so that you are feeling and acting stronger at the end of this year. So now we are going to talk about January. And of course, January is just as the end of last year, still about a hibernation period where we save a lot of energy by doing not so much and just being in kind of a meditation vibe where we don't even have to really think about that much. So I want to make a comparison to, for example, an architect or like an artist. When an architect goes on to a new job, he usually first starts to think about how do I want to build up this new building and what is important to think about. So he takes kind of like these mental steps to figure out like what is the best way to start doing something. And that's actually not what in January is important, but what an architect or any creative artist really also often needs is a period of just not thinking and not doing anything. Like for example, if someone has a mental blockage and doesn't no longer really remember what he wants to do, or he just has no inspiration, then he goes maybe to the forest and does basically nothing and just relaxes fully. And that might lead to some random ideas just coming in because there's like a cleanup of the full head, which is always thinking. And sometimes it's important to have like a fresh new wind coming through your head to have some new space so that new ideas can come in. So basically the start of the year is all about that still. So really just about cleansing your mental space so that in the next upcoming months, so like February or March, you can really start about thinking what it is you want to be growing from within and how you're gonna do that, of course. So this book, which we have been talking about a lot, where this whole thing is based around, talks about January in the sense that we now have a period where something can be born from actually nothing. And basically the key question for January is what wants to be born through you in this upcoming year. So there might be some random thoughts that pop in your head in this month. Don't give them too much attention, but just write them down. Maybe in the second or third week, start writing down a lot of things that have been reoccurring and like you feel like, oh, this is really valuable information. So write it down and look at it at the end of the month to answer that question. What wants to be born through you? So to come back once more to the cycle of the energy in a whole year, this is basically the period where you make sure there's enough room for a difficult plan to emerge, and it's important to first clean your whole head so that in the months in the spring you can really build up that idea and start working on it, so that eventually in the summer you can really put it out in the world and really show yourself with your new seed. And in autumn it's really more a period of letting go of bad habits and things that don't really fit in that new seed, in that new you, and that you realize that you have changed and that maybe things about yourself and your environment need to change as well. And basically December is the period where just a lot of energy goes not anymore into the outside, into creating and showing your seed, but usually it's really about going back inwards and saving a lot of energy for the new cycle, and also to think about what went good and what went bad in that year, so that you can learn from that process that you've had in all those 12 months and learn from it and implement it in this year or the next year, whenever you're watching this. So this period leads from January of 4th up until the 4th of February. So according to this book, this is the last month of the winter and also the most static one. In basically the period between Christmas and like the 4th of January is where you do the least amount of things, and you would just really get in a kind of meditative lifestyle, and you really clean your body by not doing much so that you get some rest. There might be already some new temptations to really start something new, but you shouldn't do that, because this really is a period where you should be empty. Basically, when you look, for example, at a farmer, you are now like the field that is being plowed upon, but there is not really any idea yet of what wants to be emerging in the next growing period. So that is basically what you are now. And for some people, that not knowing might even be kind of stressful, because not knowing is kind of a big taboo in our current society. And I can understand that it might be also a bit hard, because not knowing might also feel like you're insecure, and that it might be unbearable to do that for this period. But the urge to fill it in is so that you do not know what. But the trick is to go from knowing to actually not knowing. And for us, this is an exercise in enduring the tension that not knowing invokes. But it is the only way through which the autonomous process is given space. It's like creativity. The best ideas often come to you at times when you are not thinking about your questions or problems at all. Just as what I was talking about with an architect or a creative person. Therefore, make your not knowing the starting point during this period, and focus not on the knowing. And of course, it's smart if you make some room for that as well. Like, give yourself some room to do nothing, and maybe even make sure that you are not that conflicted with all the noise from the whole world, the turbulence, and that you are kind of in your own bubble. So in January, the biggest danger is that you will sell out what is still in the germination phase. You should keep a germ, or like this smallest seed, to yourself, because if you give it away too early, it will remain an unfinished product and you'll regret it by April. So let it evolve within yourself to make it even bigger and more concrete, and that you get a real good vision of how this seed is going to flourish and what it takes to flourish, what is needed to flourish. So how can you best act in this period? It's important to really just focus on strengthening your good habits and getting rid of the bad habits, and basically commit to a lot of rest and sleep a lot. Then another thing to watch out for is don't really just focus on the first temptation that you get. Stay open and receptive to maybe other ideas, because maybe there's more to this month that you get in, and try to not go all in the first random thought that pops in, because then you wouldn't be really resting, right? Basically in this period it's really just about using your brakes, slowing down the car, slowing down your body, slowing down the way how you live. And your life is at the moment about more or less the details, and of course the big picture is not yet really clear for yourself. So become aware of the autonomous process of life that is coming back. For example, the light that is slowly getting back, and we get longer days each day. Just focus on how your energy might as well be influenced by that, and try to really get in touch with the feeling sense of your body instead of the doing sense. Then the questions for January. Basically there are no questions for January. That's not the intention of this month. You shouldn't really ask too much questions. But if you do want to do some personal investigations or research, if you wish, you can pay attention to the following questions and make notes about those. So for the basic posture, you can think about what is the right way to make some room for yourself for something new. Like, what should you do, or what shouldn't you do, or what should you really change? Just think about those. Then another question to ask yourself is like, how do you really slow down? How do you use your own brakes? And maybe think about how can you communicate it to your environment that you want to take it slower, maybe. And of course some people will not feel like they want to do that, so that might even lead to some friction. So it might be useful to just be able to talk about your feelings, and to also put yourself first, so that you can be there for them maybe in a later time in the year. So with that I will leave you guys to so with that I will end this video, and I would really recommend you guys to take some notes in the second or third week of this month to really get a good idea of what it is that you want to grow in this upcoming year. Just write them down and don't look up at them and don't think about them too much, but for the next month it's really beneficial if you have some things to look back on, and maybe you can use that inspirations that you got out of doing nothing. So I want to thank you guys again for watching this video, and I would also really recommend you guys sharing this knowledge and these videos with important people that you really love and you feel like they might need this to have some kind of balance in their life. And I hope you guys have a really calm period, and don't forget to like and subscribe. It would really mean a lot to me. And I would say have a great day or night whenever you're watching this. Bye bye guys.